Sorry about that. I had a call coming in, and apparently, when someone calls, they just boot you off of Zoom, which is really not cool. All right, so let's get back. Okay, I think we're all good. It's seriously such a beautiful day. So my days this week have been so different. Now, of course, I usually always wake up early and get started, but I've been waking up earlier to make sure that my day is kind of dual faceted, right? Like I have a lot to do on one end and a lot to do on the other one. And of course, Rhino will never take backseat to anything, which unfortunately might be to the dismay of some, but that's a personal thing. That being said, let's take a look at Rhino bucks. Yesterday, we bought up a whole bunch. So it's continually moving higher, which is a good thing. Hey, Terry. I haven't touched the ledger yet today. I've been out since 4 a.m. A lot of thinking and planning and kind of, you know what, whenever you're doing, like, especially Rhino, it's, we always talk about problem solving versus labor. A lot of everything in Rhino is problem solving. Like we're going to go ahead and think this up, invent this, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now it's kind of like two parts of my life because I'm also putting on a defense that I have to go to tomorrow morning, in which case I have to think up. And the interesting part about whenever you're, I guess, inventing something is it can't be forced. Like, for instance, if you said, okay, I'm going to sit down for 1 hour, hey, Frida, I'm going to sit down for 1 hour or 2 hours, and during those 2 hours, I'm going to spend the time thinking about this, and I'm going to accomplish this. Well, do I think you might come up with a couple of good ideas? Yeah, probably. But is it as natural or as valuable as, say, you were outside playing basketball and you're like, oh my God, this just came to me, right? So I'll spend 4 or 5 hours every morning looking around. And I've done this with Rhino. I've done it more so obviously this week. In which case I have my notepad with me and just jotting idea, which allows me that once the day actually begins, like in the real world, right, like 10 o'clock or something, I don't have to spend any time problem solving. I have a hit list. And this hit list is, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and I check it off one by one. And that is kind of the secret sauce of Rhino and the secret sauce of the duality of my week. So today is very overwhelming because I actually have to, all of the things that I've gathered over the course of the week, I have to now put together to prepare for tomorrow, because I have to go ahead and put on a defense in the morning, which I've received so many emails of support, and everyone thinks I'm totally crazy. Anthony, get representation. And I think we're going to be okay. And it's not that I'm totally nuts. I have what's being alleged. It's all written down, right? Like that's why I'm in the situation I'm in. And then I have the ability to go ahead and say, okay, did this stuff happen or did it not? Of course, I know whether I did something or not. Now, whether you can prove that is a whole different ballgame, right? It's like Denzel Washington in Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So I understand that. I'm not so silly where I say, well, I know I didn't do this, so I'm going to go and say, I didn't do this. No, that's you should get a lawyer if you're going to do that. But if you can actually on paper prove and disprove every single point, I'm talking about in totality, and then actually share an alternate storyline, well, this is what's being said, but actually this fits better, and let me tell you why. I guess I still have a little bit belief in law. And if I'm wrong, I'm willing to be wrong. Like I feel good. Like I need to do the work today, but I feel good. So that's that. Now I did send out an email last night. It was much later than I wanted. I said 7:30. It was really like, I think 8:45. That email took a long time. It was a lot of writing. And then making the lander page and yada, yada, yada. Because it was sent so late, I haven't looked at how many transactions or clicks or purchases. I'm not interested in that at the moment. but I will be probably in the next hour or two. If you hadn't participated at all, I really would like you to. I put the link in this Zoom. When I was thinking, what can I offer? You know, we've done a bunch of promos. Yeah, no, Bill, I'm going to speak to him. So we've done a bunch of promos, and each one subsequently felt like it was a better deal. In which case, in my mind, it was, all right, well, we're good with promos because, you don't know what you don't know. I didn't expect this week to happen. So we're good with promos, and, that's fine. When we get to $3, $4, $5, $6, we'll make a new one that is commensurate with that growth, and everything will be fine. Because you also don't ever want to water things down. Oh, every month he's doing a new promo, and why am I in this recurring if I could just wait a week? I mean, I could wait a month and get something far better. So I've always been mindful of that, and that's never been the plan, right? I think I even said in one of our emails or one of our lives, of course, there's things you would like to do, but you know that you shouldn't. They're just not okay in terms of running a business. So what was it? 4 or 5 months ago, Stripe offered us a loan. Now, Stripe is our largest merchant partner, and everything goes through them. So they see all of our transactions. So you could be someone that has, I don't know, the worst credit in the world and the worst, and no bank would ever look at you. But if the person that actually processes all of your transactions, if you're that person, well, you're in charge of our money. Like, we can never have our money unless Stripe says, yeah, we'll give it to you. Like, for instance, if all of a sudden Stripe found out that we were selling heroin, they would say, okay, we're seizing all of the transactions that happen. This money's not going to you. We're closing your account down, so forth and so forth. So they always have a masterful ability. They are the top level. We only receive income because they allow us, because they process it. The point being, well, Stripe's also a bank. So they look to make loans. And in their business, it behooves them. It's a very good idea. Well, let's take a look at our top clients. And if we can go ahead and corroborate in our algorithm that they are a very safe loan to make, well, then that's just free money on two folds. One, we're helping a company grow that's staying with us. So if the company grows, that means more transactions in the future, which means more revenue for us, right? Like more fees. But secondly, if we can go ahead with a very strong ability, see that they can pay this back because we're going to take 20% of every one of their transactions till it's paid back, well, then that's a good place to be. In fact, they have minimum payment dates that need to be made by. So for instance, every single month, if our transactions don't reach X level by that point, then they would go ahead and say, okay, well, to continue, we're going to take this large chunk, right? You owe 1,000 or 2,000, whatever the case may be. And of course, they can do that because they're in charge of all the money. And we easily have that in any given day or two. Now, we've never gotten to that point. We've always been able to stay paying at the rate we're paying. That's fine. The point of the story is we're now at 55% payback, and Stripe, without our outreach, emailed us 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point, and said, hey, we don't have a new deal for you yet, but we are looking at your account. We keep going, and we hope to have a new offer for you. So I went ahead and did a little homework and looking, well, what's the details of a new offer? Like what do I need to do? Because if it's a matter of emailing customer service or talking to someone, I'll do it. So I did email them, and they said it's actually not a human decision; it's our computer. When it does, but thanks for reaching out, and stay good, whatever. So I then went ahead and looked up, well, what does the computer do? And the algorithm, in fact, to go ahead and make these offers, well, how well have you been paying the loan back as is? See, we're not looking for a first offer. We have a track record with them now. We've paid it back perfectly. Every single payment's been made, and we've always stayed ahead of schedule. So from their point of view, okay, great, this is great. Are we growing? Is the revenue increasing? Is the volume increasing? Is the customers increasing? Are there things that are showing us that they can go ahead and continue growing? In which case, 3 months ago, we were at 350 members. And just recently, we were as high as 680. I think we're at 650 now, which is a little dishonest, well, not dishonest, but what's the word? Um, Whatever. It's what's the word? I don't know. But the word meaning it's not as it looks, because about 25 of them were Rhino email, which we had to go ahead and close down because Kartra said deceptive, close to it, but still not the word. But close to it. Because Kartra said, well, we don't really approve of this, so you got to close this down. In which case we had to cancel all of those accounts, all of those members. Still, though, have we grown? Has the income increased? Yes. What it means to this offer that I've shared yesterday, that I'm going to share about a bazillion times today because it is that important to everything, is that with this offer being successful, one could surmise, and of course not guarantee, like I can't guarantee anything, but I could surmise that the initial jolt in new revenue, new transactions, dollar volume, et cetera, will not only pay back the initial loan at a much expedited pace, because again, they do 20% regardless of transactions. If we have 100,000 transactions today, they're going to take 20,000. If we have 100,000 transactions, they're going to take $20. It's all until that's paid back. Meaning, if we're successful with this offer, Stripe is going to get a very, very large infusion where they're going to say, whoa, these guys were 55% yesterday. They're now 75, 80% paid back. That's incredible. Look at the dollar volume. Everything over there is really, really looking quite strong. Well, I think they're ready for our secondary offer. And if your first offer to someone, your dipping the toe offer to someone is $50,000, what is your second offer, right? If you are offering it to a customer that has 14, 15,000 transactions without a dispute, that is growing and that has been with you the entire time, what does your second offer look like? I would surmise that I think that second offer to be closer to 100,000, maybe 120, 130,000. And that offer is one that we can accept immediately, and it just goes right into our account. And of course, then the payback terms are 20% per transaction. The point of all of this is, when deciding to make an offer, I wanted to really come up with something that can benefit everyone, in the sense that, okay, we will distribute the Rhino to you August 1st. Give us a little bit of time. We'll do it at $1, so it'll be as liquid as water. If you want to go ahead and make 100% on your money over the course of a month, God bless, this is for you, right? There you go. But one might say, well, Ant, how are you going to pay that back, right? Like, what if all these people go ahead and redeem? How are you actually factoring that? Well, a couple of things. For that to hit a scale where I have to worry about us not being able to support the market, even if, say, 20, 30, 40, 50% of people redeem, it means that the amount of people that participated was a very high number. The reason I'm sharing the Stripe news with you is because if that number is really high, it's also going to be associated with, and very likely associated with, a $100,000 to $150,000 cash infusion, which means not only do I have, you can never say no fear, but not only am I not overly concerned with if X amount of people go to redeem the offer where they want to make a quick 100% in a matter of a month, not only am I not overly concerned with that, but if they want to do so, God bless, but I actually think that they'll not want to do so, because the funds that we're going to bring in, we're going to take that to go ahead and reward all the participation today by buying up the coin and putting it in the coin. Because again, like I said in the emails, and I don't know if I said it clearly or not, there's a lot of things in Rhino that are for Rhino, right? And everything we do is for Rhino. Let's get the business, and that car is so loud. Let's make sure the business is on the right foot and we're growing. Fine. This is still that, but there's a lot of Anthony associated with it too. Anthony actually needs some help here. And for anyone that knows Anthony or has known Anthony or believes they know Anthony, I can promise you one thing. I don't forget those that were there. And that's not anything bigger than that sentence, right? Like, I know that I do need some help. And upon the outcome being a good one, right? Because if we have enough participation, then the Stripe loan and blah, blah, blah. Plus, we're still growing. Rhino Bot's about to be launched. I was just with the team yesterday, and they showed me the entire emulator and the messenger app, and it's like really, really cool stuff. But the point being, everything is still moving forward, but this has the ability to move it even further. So sure, the reason for this is for Anthony. But Anthony would never ask for something for solely the benefit of Anthony unless there was a bigger benefit to everyone else. And the corollary to this benefit is that if this participation works well, like we all kind of get together and really participate, there's a much bigger pot of gold that's probably a week or two away tops. So I just want to kind of share that to kind of put some color to what this, not so much what the offer is, but give some color to, all right, well, is this just a charity? Like there's a business, I like you, Ant, but am I just, is this like, if I'm giving to it as a charity, well, then how can you ever go ahead and redeem it later? And is this just a path where if I do simple math, I see that the best days are behind? No, it's not. I cannot stress enough, Rhino will never be sacrificed, ever. So this is my best calculation, my best makes sense where everyone wins. So I did put the link in the chat. I'm gonna do it again. I'm really sweating. Like you could see that. It is so hot out. Of course I can't put it in again. Why would I be able to? So you can see my face right now, and I'm like sitting here trying to look at a screen. All right, anyway. So please just participate. And I did it as a write-in. Later today, I'll probably do it a little bit more like, okay, pick a $5 option, pick a $100 option, pick something. But right now, we will distribute the coin at $1 a coin, meaning you'll make over 100% if you care to redeem it by August 1st, which is what, like 31 days or something like that. By then, though, I would never make the offer unless I knew that for that offer to even approach being dangerous, it would also trigger, because the amount is so large, that there's a far larger amount of money that would be released to us on top of all of the things that are going on in terms of the good stuff, right? The Rhino bot and everything, and the affiliate bot will be done probably the end of next week. So that's kind of all I have, I think. Rhino bucks, I'm going to get to the ledger, but up again yesterday, getting closer to where it was before one of our former team members decided to sell their entire Christmas bonus all at once. But that's okay. That's their right. It's a market. Events are going just fine. I did see a little bit of a blip with Rhino Street yesterday. If you use an iPad, it wasn't working correctly. So I did tell the team that, and it is being corrected. I think it's probably solved by now. And that's that. So tomorrow I'll be totally unavailable because again, I have courts at 8:30, so I won't have any live, so I'm going to cancel them. I will check in at the end of the day just to kind of give a little bit of how the day went. I hope to have good news for everyone. And just as an aside comment, because it's so funny because during any time I'm public, especially when it's business, it's always at the betterment of those, right? Like I'm never walking around like me. If I'm on Rhino, it's like, this is how I'm able to support Rhino, build Rhino. This is what I have envisioned for Rhino. And that's kind of everywhere in life. This is the first week where I actually feel like I'm kind of talking a little bit more about my self-interest. And there's no parsing it, right? Like there's no pretending this isn't happening. So the decision-making process is, do I go ahead and try to pretend? Or do I say, if Rhino really is everything, well, then it's everything. Like, this is what's going on. And in doing so, I do also know that it will cause some people to say, wow, I don't even know if he knows how big of a hill he has in front of him. And if this week is any indication, there's some things that he's just not going to have time for both. I want to kind of comment on that this week is the week of preparation for that. This is the week that it did just happen. And even still, I really have managed to make sure everything is the way it would have been. And that's not because I have magical powers. It's because I'm actually waking up at 4 a.m. and not going to sleep till 10 p.m. And of course, that's not going to last forever. I mean, you can't live like that. I don't think you can. But right now, that's what Rhino needs. That's what Anthony needs. And Anthony and Rhino, even though you might say they're the same person, they have different needs sometimes, right? Like, and I'm going to make sure that everything is fine. So I just kind of want to give the lay of the land. I always put myself on the other side of this camera, and I think to myself, well, if I was being a reasonable business person and taking emotion out of it, how would I feel at the moment? What will my fears be? And just know that that thought process I'm already having on your behalf and already solving it before it ever gets to the second and third step of what you ever would be fearful. So just trust me, you always have, just continue doing it. And I don't know if this makes sense, but whenever life throws you a punch, of course you always want to get back up. But it's not about getting back up that intrigues me. It's about being bigger. Yeah, this happened. You knocked me down. I got up and then climbed 10 stories higher. A, so it'll never happen again. And B, for anyone to see, when this happens, you can be assured that's going to happen. So there's the goal of this week is not, all right, let me do my best to get back to normal. No, it's okay. This is public, it's seen. Now let's go ahead and show everyone what Rhino really is. And that's very special to me, and it's special to you. So I will send out a couple more emails today. I have Rhino Wealth at 11, which I am going to take. It's now 10:22, so I will be home in time to take that. And then I'm just, the day is completely, I don't have anything for the day. I need to be totally locked in. But I will be sending out many emails. Not only do I want more participation, but I also want testimonials. You guys have known me forever. Like, someone has to have something nice to say. And if you don't, I'll find you. But all right, let me go. Love you. And yeah, go Rhino. Bye.